President Biden taking a victory lap, holding a Rose Garden event celebrating a tentative deal to avoid a major railroad strike. The president also claiming that the agreement will cut soaring food prices yesterday. Listen to this.
Mr. President, grocery prices are up over 13%. What do you tell struggling Americans?
Rail's moving, it's not going to go up.
The deal must now be ratified by union members. Joining me now, Freedom Foundation CEO Aaron Withe. Sir, good morning to you. You know, the Freedom Foundation's taking on government union bosses and helping people leave their unions across the country. Aaron, your thoughts on this potential deal? And I really want to hear what you think about the fact that there's a lot of criticism now that basically that Biden, they all just caved. They caved to get this off of the front page of the paper.
Yeah, in some ways they did, but we shouldn't have even got here in the first place. We need to look at how we did get here. I'm usually the first to bash on unions, but in this instance, you really can't. The unions were representing the best interest of its members. They were having poor working conditions due to Biden's economy and other decisions he'd made, including long work hours, including not being able to travel so far from their office areas so if they were on call. But then you can't blame the BNSF and these other railroad companies either, because they were representing really the best interest of us, the consumers, getting food delivered to us, getting petroleum taken across the country, all things that are done by railroad. What you can blame is the Biden administration, because they're the ones that have created vaccine mandates, which these railroad workers were covered by. They had to get vaccinated in order to keep their jobs. And then on top of that, they were also, Biden's printing out money like it's going out of fashion, and basically incentivizing people not to work. So you have these railroad shortages, these railroad workers shortages, because of what the Biden administration has done.
You know, Amtrak is finally going to be operating on a full schedule today. I mean, again, crisis averted. The passenger service, though, announcing earlier this week that it was going to practically cancel all of those long-distance routes to avoid disruptions if a deal between the railroads and the unions wasn't reached by today's strike deadline. Aaron, I mean, this really impacted Amtrak, who already has a lot of financial problems, to be clear. And I'm kind of giggling, but not, because Amtrak has had a lot of problems financially. At the same time, though, it really shows, I think, the depth and the breadth of the threat that this strike really had on our country. Your reaction?
Yeah, I mean, on top of Amtrak being canceled, I mean, people rely on that, of course, to get to and from places. But yeah, you think about what we use the railroads for. I mean, a lot of our major economy, a lot of the U.S.'s major economy uses these railroads. A lot of international economy uses it as well. We export a lot of oil to Mexico through the railroads. So yeah, it would have been disastrous would we have not reached agreement. So thank God that BNSF and Union Pacific and these other railroad companies were able to settle. These are the guys that are really representing us as consumers of all this stuff, because if they would not have been able to agree to these deals, then it would have been disastrous for all of us. And Biden, yeah, you're right, he dodged a bullet here, because this would have been on him. Ultimately, the fault is the Biden administration's.
So Biden has boasted about trains as a mode of transport as a part of his green energy plan, but also yesterday was talking about freight and keeping prices down by keeping supply high, specifically also adding oil. So here's my question about these strikes, or about these threats of strikes. What does it make further the case for, maintaining car travel or expanding and developing more oil pipelines?
Yeah, I think that they do make their own case in a lot of ways. But of course, Biden isn't going to come out and say that. He has this green agenda, which is basically based on feel-good activities. I mean, it's been proven over and over again that his actual agenda, his actual green agenda, has nothing to do with helping workers. And frankly, a lot of it isn't even good for the environment when you look at electric cars and the likes. But you think about these blue-collar workers. I mean, they've been through it all. The ones that want to work got told that they'd be fired if they refused to take a vaccine. The ones that didn't want to work are subsidized from the government to go home. And then what Biden's doing is telling all these blue-collar workers that they have to pay basically for liberal elites' college funds in the tune of $10,000. So, I mean, Biden's idea of the economy is basically to incentivize liberal elites while leaving the blue-collar worker behind.
Wow. Well, I do want to ask you about one more issue, and this is a big story this week, is these nurses in Minnesota. They returned to work yesterday, but there was a 3-day strike, and the Minnesota Nurses Association calls this the largest strike by private sector nurses in the history of our country. The president of the union says that she hopes it gives them leverage in negotiations. That's going to resume next week. So strike averted for now, but this continues. And to your point about the pandemic, from railroad workers to now nurses, these are the people that kept our country going, Aaron.
Yeah, I called them heroes a long time ago, but now they were being fired for not going out and taking a vaccine, at least those that didn't want to do it. In this instant, though, the unions were not representing the best interests of the workers. The nurses union, they were the ones advocating for nurses to be fired when refusing to take a vaccine. The nurses union, they're looking to try and get 30% increases. This is at a time when, of course, Biden will be forgiving $10,000 off their loans because nurses, of course, went to college. So in this instance, I think the nurses union is really going too far, and it could result, and maybe it did result, in loss of life, which should be absolutely be avoided. 15,000 nurses striking in Minnesota. The only people that hurts are the people that need health care at that time. Yeah. So this is absolutely a terrible thing.
You know, I think it's more important to look forward regarding this issue dealing with nurses, and that is, as this population ages, and we are on the verge of an unprecedented aging of the U.S. population, thanks to the baby boomers, we are going to need more healthcare workers. We're going to need more nurses. So perhaps the U.S. government should be doing more to encourage individuals, young individuals, to enter the healthcare industry, you know, in particular males. As far as nursing is concerned, this forgiveness of outstanding student loans, it really makes no sense when you think of our future labor needs. Perhaps this money should have been put towards subsidizing the future education of nurses, of other healthcare workers that are going to be in great demand over the next 10 to 20 years.
Yeah, it could have gone, frankly, to a multitude of other places. But like I said, Biden's idea is to reward liberal elites while doing that off the back of the blue-collar workers. I mean, you think about the railroad workers. I can't imagine that many of them went to college or got college degrees. And then you have the nurses on the other side of this thing, bargaining for 30% raises. I mean, it's a big hurdle what they're asking for, and they're using people's health care as leverage in that, which I think is frankly disgusting.
Well, I mean, so much of this week has been about, you know, what's happening with these workers, and in particular amid all this inflation. It's actually it's somewhat sad to see. Aaron, thank you very much for being here. Aaron Withe.
Thank you.